your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The primary season continued Tuesday with...
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Tyron Spearman reporting. Bob Branding, Executive Director of the U.S. Peanut Federation, spoke at the USA Peanut Congress convention last week. He said that there are 220 Democrats and 208 Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives. 151 members have never voted on a farm bill. So he said education will be a major thrust of the growers in the peanut business. There is talk that the House could flip in November with more Republicans than Democrats, and therefore a lot of education must be done on both sides. On the Senate side, 23 senators have never voted on a farm bill, and 35 seats are up for re-election in November. The U.S. Peanut Federation has strongly supported 2 projects. Recently, in ag appropriations, the projects totaled $4.5 million for 2023, and includes peanut aflatoxin renewal project research and $1 million approved for the peanut nutrition program in working with the Peanut Institute on peanut nutrition. He said no farm bill will go unless it's a bipartisan bill, and usually there's a lot of working together on the farm bill. Remember that most of it is of the ag budget is food stamps, and all states are involved in that. Bob Redding reporting at the USA Peanut Congress.
They say farming isn't a career, it's a way of life. While the work is rewarding, the daily stresses can be both physically and emotionally demanding. Sadly, 50% of farmers say it's difficult to access therapy or counseling in their community. Our 24-hour helpline changes that. Call 211 or text FARM-FL to 898-211. You don't have to deal with stress or anxiety alone. Learn more at 211.org.
I'm Tyron Spearman for Southeast AgNet.
Unbeatable prices and events are popping up everywhere at Rural King. Like an antique steel fire pit for just $49.98. Or your choice of 27-foot tie-down ratchet straps, just $7.99 a piece. And don't miss taking a spin on the baddest mowers at our Lawn Mower Rodeo. Saturday, June 18th from 10 till 2. Must be 16 or older to ride. Shop now at RuralKing.com or your neighborhood Rural King, America's farm and home store.
When it really counts, depend on the source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with low humidity and a high of 87 to 90, and mainly clear tonight, low 69 to 71. Thursday will be mostly sunny, high tomorrow 92 to 94, then a humid day Friday with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Watch for an afternoon and evening thunderstorm in spots, high on Friday 92 to 96. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Holly Holdren.
Do you suffer from joint pain or anxiety? Natural Life CBD Kratom and Kava can help. Our CBD certified associates will consult with you. Chocolate, gummies, CBD oil. We have Delta 8 products with quality you can trust, all held to the highest standard. Natural Life has 2 locations to serve you, open 7 days a week, located in the S-Curve and in the Heathbrook Shopping Plaza. Give them a call at 352-355-3040, and if you stop in and tell them you heard it on WOCA, you'll receive 10% off your entire purchase.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Wednesday, you know, every day we see something in the news about insurance companies are threatening to pull out of Florida. They're turning people away after 10 years. They're snatching their insurance from them because their roofs are their roofs are over 10 years old, and it's because of litigation that is baseless most of the time and scams. Well, the legislature called a special session. They went back in to try to deal with the property insurance market that is in crisis in Florida. Whenever the last resort citizens, which was designed, created by the legislature as a last resort for people, becomes the main source for people, that's a crisis in the insurance market. Homeowners are facing steep rises in cost, and it's all because natural disasters, but out-of-control litigation costs have a lot to do with it too. Well, Randy Ray, he's a member and past president of the Capital City Republican Club. He joins us from Tallahassee to talk about this very important and sometimes confusing situation. Randy, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning, Tom. And you're right. It's absolutely confusing. And talking about citizens, let me just, I'll set the scene for you. 2 years ago, the number of households that, or homes that citizens insured was about 450,000. 2 years later, right at 900,000.
It'll be a million, they say. They say it'll be a million by the end of 2022, that it was maybe a million.
Yep, absolutely. And the reason is you rightly stated. These insurance companies are, and it's oftentimes it's the smaller insurance companies, but I'll tell you, there's one that just went out of business last week called Southern Fidelity. They had 80,000 Florida homeowners that now have to find new insurance. And as you said, if they have a problem with their roof, any kind of a problem with their roof, they're going to have a difficulty getting insurance because of roofing scams that are going on and have been going on in the state for some time now.
Well, I'll tell you a scam that happened recently. I had a buddy of mine who had a family member who got inundated by a guy who was in her home almost 4 hours. Refused to leave the home, was telling her things like, your roof is in such dire need that I really am obligated to call code enforcement because this home is uninhabitable. You know, your roof's about to fall, it's rotten, it's going to cost $45,000. I can't leave here with your safety in peril. It took the police showing up when he realized the police were on the way. He vacated before they got there, of course. But these are the exact type of scams the insurance companies are concerned about. And by the way, I don't blame the insurance companies. I wouldn't want to have to pay these kind of scam insurance fraud, because what happens, the roofer then says, look, I'll handle the insurance company for you. Give me the paperwork and I'll deal with all that. And it's really just defrauding the insurance company.
That's exactly right. And if you'll let me walk in the weeds just a little bit here, let me tell you the the nuts and bolts of this scam. And there are all kinds of scams, but this is the one that that is it's unbelievable. Some, and not all, and I'm going to I'll preface everything I say that it's not all attorneys and not all roofers. However, there are some attorneys and some roofers that target homeowners with a roof that's 10 years or older. And the way they are able to do this is public information. They can go down to the place where permits are pulled, and they can find all of the permits that are 10 years or older. And so what they do is they'll find a permit, they'll go to Mrs. Smith, who lives down the street from you, and they're unsolicited. They knock on the door, and they tell her that they want to do a roof inspection. And when they finish, they say, look, we want to recommend a roof replacement. Now, here's the thing. Here's where it really, really starts to get crazy. They ask her to sign an assignment of benefits authorization form.
Exactly.
And what that just means this. They can step in and they can talk directly to their insurance company, to her insurance company, and they say, we'll get back with you. So her roof is actually a $25,000 roof, or a $20,000 roof, whatever it may be. Let's say a $25,000 roof. Well, this roofer goes to his attorney friend, and he says, look, all right, we've got Mrs. Smith's house, and her roof is $25,000. And so the attorney takes it and says, fine, I'll make the application. So the attorney files with the insurance company. Now, I know you're sitting down. He files with the insurance company for $150,000. And the insurance company takes a look at this. He files it with the State Department of Financial Services and the insurance company. And obviously, the insurers, the insurers see this as an outrageous claim. And so they come back and they say, no, that's a $25,000 roof. And so they say, we're going to pay you $25,000 for that roof. Now, at this time, that the lawyer starts slow rolling the process. And the reason that he slow rolls the process is because he knows that the insurance company has 60 days between the time that they first receive a claim to getting that claim properly settled and agreed upon. So they'll get the thing back. Okay, it's $25,000. So they wait their full amount of time, and they say, okay, here's our counteroffer. We're going back to $150,000, just like before. Well, they keep going back and forth, and they continue to slow roll this until the insurance company runs out of time to respond. And when the insurance company runs out of time to respond, then they go from good faith to bad faith, which is some legal thing. And when they get into a bad faith negotiation, then that attorney says, now we're filing a lawsuit, and it's going to be $150,000 plus punitive damages of $100,000. So now it's $250,000. Now, the whole time Mrs. Smith is sitting in her house doing what she ought to do, and she knows nothing about what's going on, and she's sitting in her house, and now a lawsuit has been filed, and what's the insurance company going to do? It's moved now from a claim to a settlement, and they say, well, okay, what do you settle for? Well, we'll settle for $175,000. So they write a check for $175,000, and they write it to the insurance company, to the lawyer. The lawyer then, in turn, goes to the roofer and says, okay, put Mrs. Smith's roof on. He puts a beautiful roof on her house and thanks her for her business. And it's a $25,000 roof. Now they've got $150,000 that they previously agreed how they're going to divide that. And I will say to you that this roofing scam is such a huge thing, Tom, that is what's driving these insurance companies out of business, and that's what's causing people to not be able to get insured and have to go to Citizens. That's why Citizens has doubled, and as you said, we'll be at $1 million by the end of the year.
And what people don't understand is this, Mrs. Smith, she gets her nice roof and everything. She has no idea the insurance company's been built out of $125,000, $150,000 in her name.
No idea.
In her name.
That's right. Yep. She has no earthly idea. But herein lies, and that is a problem. Herein lies the broader problem. Down the street is Mr. Jones. And Mr. Jones, and I'm going to make him, I represent the senior consumers of America. And Mr. Jones is 70 years old, and he has insurance, and for some reason his insurance company, he was insured with Southern Fidelity, okay? And so he has to get new insurance. Well, he gets somebody to come out and look at his house, and his roof is 12 years old. Well, now, a roof should last 15 to 20 years, but if it's 12 years old, that insurance company is not going to write him. And the reason they're not going to write him is because that he has a roof that is within that lawsuit scam range, and having that kind of a roof, what happens? Well, quite honestly, he has to negotiate, and finally go to Citizens. And Citizens says, okay, we're going to insure you. And remember, Citizens, that's me and you. And so Citizens says, we're going to insure you, but Mr. Jones, you don't have a burglar alarm on your house. You don't have fire alarm. It's not monitored. You don't have something that's monitored. So you've got to do these things. Now, Mr. Jones has lived there forever and never had those things. But now, in order to be insured with the state-funded insurance company, he's got to jump through these hoops and spend this money that he wasn't planning to spend anyway. And so it's a vicious cycle, and we've got to do something to deal with the root cause, which is these scams.
Yeah, and the legislature was called into a special session to fix this. Instead, they decided to take the district away from Disney. So then they came out of that special session. The governor put them back in a special session. Did they make any progress?
Well, here's what they did. they treated some symptoms. They didn't treat the cause. They created a $2 billion reinsurance fund. Now reinsurance is simply something that mitigates your an insurance company's liability. For instance, if an insurance company has a liability up to, I don't know, X millions of dollars in a year, then they buy reinsurance to cover them beyond that. And if they can get enough reinsurance to cover them, that's fine. So they created a fund to deal with the situation as it is, which that is a symptom. That doesn't deal with the cause. And another part was that, and this is something that deals with the cause, there are certain things within the legal system called multipliers, under which some attorneys are able to get 1.5 up to 2.5 times their fee through a certain kind of lawsuit. Now, they eliminated multipliers, but the actual problem of the scam was not addressed. And that's what's driving everything just out the absolute roof. No pun intended. Look, here's a staggering statistic. Between 2013 and 2020, Florida's property insurance paid out $17 billion in claims costs. Only 8% of what was paid to consumers was paid to consumers. 71% was paid to attorneys. $1.2 billion homeowners claims and $13.8 billion to attorneys out of $15 billion. That's staggering. Here's another staggering thing. Florida accounts for about, actually a little less than 10% of all homeowners claims. But you know what percentage we have of homeowners insurance lawsuits? 76% of all lawsuits in the country come from the state of Florida. We're ground zero. We're at the very base of all of this issue. So that scam has got to be dealt with, and that's not the only scam out there. The other scams are like you're talking about, where the roofer comes and just basically parks in the house and says, you're going to have this roof. And by the way, that roofer could have been a part of this scam, probably had an attorney working with him.
I'm sure he probably did. But, and then they start with the $45,000. But like you said, I didn't realize that the lawyers could file this lawsuit because the homeowner gives them permission. They sign their permission away. And the lawyer drags his feet to make sure that the legislative that holds insurance companies accountable, so insurance companies can't drag their feet, he uses that legislation against the insurance companies to force them to settle instead of go to court and lose more money.
Yeah, it's exactly like, look, near the end of the game, when the winning team has the football, you know what they do? They run the football.
Yeah, they try to eat the clock, and that's what the lawyer does.
That is exactly what the lawyers are doing, and they're being successful to the point of billions of dollars in the state of Florida. It is mind-blowing. When I first heard that Florida was in an insurance crisis, I thought, well, it's because of the hurricane, and hurricanes are a factor. But I will tell you this, if Florida has a bad hurricane this year, we're in serious, serious trouble, because Citizens property insurance is, I don't know, I might even go this far. I don't know this to be true, but I would say at this point, Citizens is the largest insurer in the state of Florida.
I know that as of 6 months ago, when we first talked about this problem, they were the second largest insurer in the state of Florida. And it wasn't designed that way. The legislature created Citizens as a stopgap when there were no other alternatives. And the problem is it's getting to where there is no other alternative.
Yep, it's the last resort, and the last resort is becoming the first option. It is not sustainable.
No, and by the way, taxpayers fund Citizen.
Yeah.
We subsidize that insurance company with our tax dollars.
That's exactly right. I'm paying homeowners insurance on my house here, and I'm paying for Citizens property insurance as well at the same time.
At the same time. So every taxpayer is paying that owns a home. You're paying for your homeowner's insurance totally, and you're paying for 900 or almost 1 million other people's homeowners through your tax dollars.
Yep. It's like a school tax. If you got kids in school,
Let's make sure that we understand that what Ray's saying and all is we're not saying that all roofers and all lawyers are bad.
Oh, no.
You know,
no.
But one bad apple, we all know it, but one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch.
Here's a rule of thumb, Tom, and I use this. If I didn't ask them to come to my door, I don't talk to them.
No.
If I didn't ask them to call me, I don't talk to them. If I didn't ask them to send me an email or a text, I don't respond to it. And if everybody would do that, we could drive this thing out.
But they're very good at what they do. They're very good snake oil salesmen. They're very good at what they do.
Yeah, they really are.
You know,
they really
and
are.
Through intimidation and slickster. That not only do they intimidate you, sometimes they're just so slick and so on the ball that you just immediately believe everything coming out of their mouth.
Well, that's the truth. And look, I don't lie to people. And when somebody lies to me, I'm just shocked by it. Now, a liar expects people to lie to them. But you get these honest citizens, and somebody knocks on their door and they say, you got a problem with your roof. We just saw it from the road. Well, wait a minute. What's the problem? Well, I don't know. Are you having leaks yet?
No, not yet. Well, it may, if it's up there at your ridge cap and everything, it could take years to come down the they're not girders, but
the rafters.
The rafters take years, and it could end up in the corner of your bathroom. But that leak originated 35 feet up and 70 feet over. We're going to have to get up there and look, and then they come back and go, "Oh, it's worse than we thought." You got plywood. You got plywood rotten. Some of your rafters are in bad shape. It's going to be $50,000-$60,000.
And you know what else? You got mold up in that attic.
Oh, black mold. We're going to have to get that out too. Matter of fact, it's in such bad shape. The code enforcement may condemn your home if we don't fix this.
Yeah, and that's just unthinkable, Tom.
You tell an 81 or 91-year-old senior that's on living by themselves. That on a fixed income, that don't have any place, this is their only house they got. Oh my God, my house could be condemned. Whatever it takes, fix it. What you want me to sign where? I can see it happening all day.
That's exactly what's happening, Tom. And there is so much more to say about this. It is phenomenal what's going on, and the number of look in the last 2 years. There's probably been, I want to say 12 to 14 insurance companies that have gone out of business in the state of Florida. Well, that is phenomenal.
Well, folks, we're talking with former president of the Capital City Republican Club, Randy Ray. Randy, let me ask you this. What can people do to get involved, or how can they find out more information to stop these scams, or what can we do as the average taxpayer citizen to make sure that our representative or whoever represents us in Tallahassee knows the buck stops right now, that it's got to stop?
Well, I think there's two things. First of all, they need to contact their representative and say, look, legislation has got to come up next session that deals with the root of this problem, with the roofing scams and the way that they are done. We can't just deal with the symptoms anymore. That's one of the things that has to be done. And they can do a little study. They can put roofing scams Florida. They can Google that and read all they want to about it. That's the first thing. The second thing, I would encourage everybody to go on a website. It's CALA.com, Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse.com, CALA.com. And click on there and find the Florida chapter of it and just sign up for emails. And you will be given regular information, not just about this lawsuit abuse, but again, about all kinds of lawsuit abuse. Again, 76% of all insurance, homeowners insurance claims in the nation come from Florida, come from this state. That's embarrassing is what it is.
It really is. And, who knew that Pandora's box would be opened up by a coffee cup and a lap at McDonald's?
There you go.
It can all be traced back. Yep. People go, when was the first time that frivolous litigation? I go, that's easy. Hot coffee in the lap at McDonald's.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. That started it. I mean, that opened the gate. Look, the reason that Morgan & Morgan is for the people is because it started back there with some other guy making that kind of claim. And look, that's an open door. And I shouldn't just point out Morgan. It's all, I call them billboard attorneys.
Yes.
It's all the billboard attorneys. Yeah, that's the way that it works.
Yeah, the billions and billions we've gotten for our clients. No, the billions and billions went in your pocket. Your clients got 800 here, 15,000 here, maybe 8,000 there. You know, when you see this guy, so and so got me 375,000. For every 375,000 he got one person, there were 70 or 80 people that got 4,000.
Yeah. It's a bad situation.
We're in a deal right now where here in Ocala we have a deal with the city lost a lawsuit against a lawyer about the stormwater runoff and the fire water and everything, and literally the lawyer that is getting almost $7 million in this settlement got this going by going knocking on doors and going, do you know what the city council did? We don't think that's legal. Yeah. You want to join our lawsuit? We do. We need somebody to create a lawsuit. Will you be our guinea pig? Because we don't think what they did was legal. It's a law firm out of Tampa. Basically door knocking because they knew that they could make money.
It won't cost you anything. We'll take all the responsibility for the litigation, they'll tell you.
Exactly. That costs you. It's a win-win for you. It costs you nothing if you don't win, and if you do win, you get a check. It's a win-win.
Right.
And we have to address situations where people can just say, it's a win-win for you. We'll do all the work. You'll get the money. And it's an easy elixir to make people fall for when you say, you got to do nothing, and we'll just give you a check if we win.
Tom, you're right. Get your people calling their representatives and senators, and look, everybody who's listening, Google roofing scams Florida, and just take a look at what's going on, and know that that's driving insurance companies out of the state of Florida and driving your insurance rates out the top of the roof.
Randy Ray, thanks so much for talking to us. I know we went a little longer than we thought we were going to go, but this is something that every Floridian that owns a home should be outraged over because it's only costing us. It's not costing lawyers.
Hey, man, you're the man, Tom. I appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks, Randy. Talk to you soon.
All righty, bye-bye.
Yeah, this is a very, very real problem in the state of Florida. And, you know, I didn't realize the depth of the scam. I just thought that they overcharged and, you know, because they said that they had plywood they got to replace and stuff like that. I didn't realize they got lawyers involved and $150,000 drag their feet, make the insurance company get close to violating the legislation, and then going, hey, we'll settle with you right now for $175,000. And insurance companies do it because they don't want to, violate the legislation. So it's a serious scam that needs to be addressed by our legislature before all the insurance companies are gone and it's just citizens, because then we'll be paying for ours and everybody else's. We'll take a break. We'll be back more after this timeout. You listen to the 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. It says WOCA, the source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pry.
A powerful earthquake that struck Afghanistan Wednesday killed roughly 1,000 souls and wounded many more. The magnitude 5.9 quake struck some 27 miles from the city of Khost in eastern Afghanistan near the Pakistani border. For the first time in nearly 30 years, gun control for law-abiding citizens could take place in a Senate vote by the end of the week. A bipartisan group of lawmakers reached an agreement on gun control legislation. The 80-page bill includes measures to tighten background checks on younger people, more background checks, and temporary removal of weapons from those the government considers a danger to others or themselves. The city of Brooklyn Center has agreed to pay $3.25 million in a settlement to the family of 20-year-old Dante Wright, fatally shot by a police officer during a traffic stop and ensuing fight for several minutes. USA Radio News.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Before I started taking Balance of Nature, I was so exhausted. but just no energy. For years, I was so worn out. Well, I want to tell you, Balance of Nature has been so good for me. I'm 84 years old, and I feel like I'm 30. I want to scream with happiness. I feel like I'm 30 years old now. So I want to thank Balance of Nature for everything, because this has been the best thing I've ever done.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.
If you missed the first big week of the 50% off sale at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, don't worry. It's coming right at you for a second big week. Bob Wine's is throwing away their old price tags and slashing prices by 50% on practically their entire inventory. I'm talking 50% off on camellias and azaleas, roses, gardenias, shrubs, herbs, even citrus and other fruit, plus annuals, perennials, palms, and much more. And get this, 50% off on crepe myrtles, flowering vines, hanging baskets, flowering shrubs, indoor foliage, statuary, clay pottery, and more. See for yourself. Check the big ad or go to bobwinescamelliagardens.net. Special store hours too, daily till 4, Saturdays till 3. Now don't you miss it. The once-in-a-lifetime 50% off sale at Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, Ocala, keeping Ocala in bloom for 70 years.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA. 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day. Uh-oh.
Is that what I thought it was?
As long as you don't think it was me running over a